I've tried to remember when or even how I first met Stacy Gouty, but for the life of me, I can't. It's very likely in some time in all the many long, substance-fueled nights that him and I both had over the years that we met, but that hasn't exactly helped my memory. More than that, it's because he always seemed to just be there, omnipresent. At a warehouse party, at that one show a while back, behind the bar, as often as he was in front of the bar, just there. And even if you didn't know him, I would bet you wanted to. Long pink hair and a grill. While not uncommon in Montrose of the 2010s, these were affections only one person I knew could pull off. You ever see a guy wear a leather jacket, but it's more like the leather jacket is wearing him? This was not the case with Stacy. I won't bore you with sob stories about a friend we lost back in 2021. Instead, I'll tell you about my chicken wings. And then, in typical food blog fashion, after a long-winded, blow-hard couple of paragraphs, I'll tell you how to make them. More or less. So, while I was working at the Blind Goat, I was exposed to Vietnamese cuisine from a perspective I thought I would never know. The inside. Sure, I know pho, like any other Houstonian, and I even have a few hot takes about where the best bowl is. That I will not be sharing here, but if you ask me in person, I will tell all. But holy shit, you guys. Fish sauce. You ever heard of it? It's incredible, and it killed me that I went 30 plus years without knowing about it. You work anywhere long enough, and after a while, if you're as arrogant as I am, you think you know a thing or two. Suddenly, you're convinced that you've thought of something that literally anyone who's ever had a chicken wing and owned a bottle of hoisin sauce before has thought of. Vietnamese style chicken wings. Brilliant, Ryan. Here's your Nobel Prize for fuck shit. He wrote that. I was even dumb enough to ask some of my very Vietnamese coworkers for advice on flavor profiles. Grown. And they all said things like, ash a marble red in it, and be sure you're wearing flip-flops when you stir, which is hilarious. But I thought, how hard could it be? Turns out really fucking hard. No matter how much fish sauce, cornstarch, bird's eye chili, hoisin, and other things I saw being used at TBG, the Blind Goat, that I threw in this sauce, it was terrible. Looking back, no shit, it was terrible. And not racist. But I ventured on, deciding to subtract rather than add. I was too dumb to understand that more fish sauce is almost never the answer. Cornstarch is best used as a slurry to thicken things, and no one likes bird's eye chili the way I do because spice is one thing and self-harm is another. What I was left with was lemon, garlic, butter. So far away from where I had started, I was embarrassed to show it to anyone until my friend, Chef Dominique, reminded me to just acknowledge my mistakes and call it what it was, not what I wanted it to be. If you want your kid to be a doctor, but they end up being a socialist punk rocker, calling them a doctor is just going to make you look daft and make them feel bad about themselves, but that's another story. So just call them what they are. Lemon, garlic, butter sauce, which doesn't roll off the tongue like Gouty sauce, but if it meant getting Stacy back, I'd call it whatever to make that deal. I'd set up my pop-up Knives and Water, aka KIW, outside the Doom Room at Two-Headed Dog selling wings, and Stacy would always get 2 orders of the lemon garlic butter sauce. One to snack on if it got slow behind the bar, and one to take home to heat up later. After his happy hour shifts were over, around 9 to 9:30, he'd come out, having eaten both, and proceed to order 2 more. He told everyone he could that about this sauce that I had at one time been so arrogant and so defeated about. Once I was doing a pop-up at Wonky Power, and I forget what bands were even playing, but he messaged me to make sure I had wings. He showed up, paid the cover to get in, ordered as usual, and fucking left without hearing a note. Not one. Not long after Stacy passed, I found myself sitting with his father, Kenny, at the dog, the two-headed dog. Drinking probably too much, talking a little too loud. I don't know much. Okay, like anything, really. About guns or women, which were Kenny's 2 favorite topics. But when he spoke, I listened. And I asked him if it would be all right if I changed the name of Stacy's favorite sauce of mine to Gouty Sauce. And with tears in his eyes, Kenny told me it'd be an honor. Completely missing the fact that I was honored, he said yes. Sometime after that, maybe a year later, I got to make the wings for Stacy's grandmother. I asked her what else the sauce might be good on, and after the question was translated to her, she looked at me as if the answer was obvious, which of course it was. It's shrimp. Duh, Ryan. So okay, how do you make the sauce? It's painfully simple. Like most things I do. It's 8 sticks of high-fat butter. Kerrygold, which is my favorite, a pint of fresh squeezed lemon juice. Do not fake this. It takes maybe 10 minutes to do. Black garlic powder, and you can find the kind I use at Grinnell by the counter because it's brick expensive, but very worth it. A quart of minced garlic. Get the already peeled ones in a bag and put it in your food processor. I don't expect you to peel 50 garlic heads or whatever. Minced onion or 2, and finally, Old Bay. I actually use Zatarans. It's what I had on hand the first time that I made the sauce, and so I just kind of stick with it. Anyways, melt all the butter. Large pot, melt all the butter. Saute your onions first, then the garlic, as garlic will burn faster if it goes in for too long. Reduce your heat, and essentially just season to taste. You don't let it boil. A nice simmer will do just fine. In the end, it should have kind of a silky texture and a taste that's noticeably tart, but salt balanced, and of course be garlicky as fuck. The black garlic will turn it kind of a grayish color, but it's just doing exactly what it should do. The butter will separate when you transfer it to a quart container, so, be sure to give it a vigorous shake before you toss in a twice-fried wing, and throw in a little bit of the oil from the fryer while you're at it. That's the secret. That's the secret in the sauce. Secret sauce. I would like to put a bit of sauce in a bowl, then add a bit of cilantro, pull the wings fresh out of the fryer, and serve it up. I can only hope you enjoy this recipe with your friends, preferably while yelling at the TV while the Astros are on. I know there are more than a few of us who wish we could be doing that right now.